Have you ever looked at a simple Australian $2 coin and wondered if it could be worth hundreds of dollars, or perhaps even $1,000? What if the coin sitting unnoticed in your pocket, wallet, or old coin jar had a rare minting error that collectors were desperately searching for? Today we are taking a fascinating journey into the world of the 2014 Australian $2 coin, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but becomes much more interesting when you understand its history, design, production, varieties, errors, and collector potential. Welcome back to Coin Collection 1, the channel where we explore the stories behind fascinating coins from around the world. If you love rare coins, valuable coins, mint errors, and hidden treasures, make sure you subscribe to Coin Collection 1, because you never know when an ordinary-looking coin might turn out to be something extraordinary. So take a close look at your Australian $2 coins, because today we are discovering exactly what makes the 2014 issue interesting to collectors, and whether a coin from this year could really be worth $1,000. The Australian $2 coin has a fascinating place in Australia's modern currency history. It was first introduced in 1988, replacing the $2 banknote. From that moment, the coin became a familiar part of everyday Australian life. Its small size, distinctive two-tone appearance, and instantly recognizable design made it one of Australia's most famous circulating coins. By 2014, millions of Australians had used $2 coins for everyday purchases, meaning the coin had traveled through shops, banks, vending machines, restaurants, and countless people's pockets. But despite being a modern circulating coin, the 2014 Australian $2 can still attract the attention of collectors, especially when an example has unusual characteristics that separate it from the millions of ordinary coins produced for circulation. The 2014 Australian $2 coin was produced by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, the institution responsible for producing Australia's circulating coinage. Modern coin production is an incredibly precise process. Metal is prepared into blanks, the blanks are processed into planchets, and carefully manufactured dies are used to strike the designs onto the metal. The pressure involved in striking a coin is enormous, and the process takes place at high speed. Modern technology allows mints to produce huge quantities of coins with remarkable consistency, but no manufacturing process is absolutely perfect. Occasionally, errors can occur. These mistakes are precisely what makes certain modern coins exciting to collectors. The standard 2014 Australian $2 coin is a bimetallic coin, meaning it contains two distinct metal components. The outer ring is made from aluminium bronze, while the inner center is composed of copper and nickel. This combination creates the distinctive golden outer ring and lighter-colored center that makes the $2 coin immediately recognizable. The coin measures approximately 20.5 millimeters in diameter, weighs about 6.6 grams, and has a thickness of roughly 2.5 millimeters. These specifications are important for collectors because weight and measurements can help identify unusual coins. If a supposed error coin has a significantly different weight or dimensions, that difference may provide an important clue about how the coin was produced. The reverse design is perhaps the most recognizable feature of the coin. It depicts an Aboriginal elder surrounded by symbolic Australian imagery, including the Southern Cross and native grass trees. This design connects the coin to Australia's Indigenous cultural heritage and its unique natural environment. The design is associated with artist Horst Hahn and has appeared on the $2 denomination since its introduction. For collectors, the design is much more than a simple picture. It represents an important part of Australia's national identity and gives the coin a strong visual connection to the country's history and culture. On the opposite side is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who was Australia's monarch when the coin was issued in 2014. The portrait used during this period was designed by Ian Rank Broadley and appeared on Australian circulating coins for many years. This creates an interesting contrast between the two sides of the coin. One side represents Australia's Indigenous heritage and natural landscape, while the other reflects the country's constitutional connection to the monarchy. Together, the two designs make the coin a small but meaningful piece of Australia's modern history. One of the most important things collectors should understand is that the date 2014 alone does not automatically make this coin rare. Millions of ordinary circulating coins can exist with the same date, and most standard examples are not worth anywhere near $1,000. If you find a normal 2014 Australian $2 coin that has been used in everyday transactions, its value will generally be close to its face value. The real excitement begins when a particular example has something unusual about it. That could be an important mint error, a recognized variety, an exceptionally high grade, or another characteristic that creates genuine collector demand. This is where the possibility of a $1,000 coin enters the story. When people hear that a 2014 Australian $2 coin could be worth $1,000, it is essential to understand that such a figure should not be considered the value of every coin from that year. Extremely high prices usually apply only to exceptional examples. A dramatic and authenticated mint error, a very unusual production mistake, or an extremely high-grade specimen may attract strong interest. Even then, the final value depends on the market, the rarity of the specific feature, and what collectors are actually willing to pay. An online listing asking for $1,000 is not proof that the coin is worth $1,000. Confirmed auction results and genuine sales are much more meaningful. Collectors searching for valuable 2014 Australian $2 coins often begin by examining the coin for mint errors. A major off-center strike, for example, can be extremely interesting. This happens when the coin blank is not positioned correctly between the dies during striking. The result may be a coin where part of the design is missing and an area of blank metal is visible. The greater and more obvious the error, the more interesting the coin may become. However, minor irregularities should not automatically be considered valuable. Collectors must determine whether the feature was created at the mint or happened after the coin entered circulation. Another possibility is a double strike. In this situation, a coin may be struck more than once, potentially creating overlapping or distorted design elements. Other possible errors include broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die breaks, and incorrect planchets. A wrong planchet error can be particularly fascinating because the coin may have been struck on a blank, intended for another denomination or another type of coin. Such an error can produce differences in weight, thickness, color, or size. Because these errors are connected directly to the manufacturing process, genuine examples can be highly collectible. The coin's dies can also create unusual features. During the production of enormous quantities of coins, dies gradually experience wear. A damaged die may develop cracks or chips, which can transfer unusual raised features onto the coins it strikes. Some collectors specialize in identifying these die varieties and die errors. However, not every crack or unusual mark is valuable. Some die deterioration is relatively common, while a dramatic and clearly documented variety may be much more desirable. This is why comparing your coin with reliable references and known examples is so important. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is confusing damage with a mint error. A coin can be dropped, scratched, scraped, bent, chemically exposed, or damaged by machinery after it leaves the mint. These events can create strange-looking surfaces that may initially appear to be errors. For example, a scratch across a design is not the same as a doubled die, and a dent caused by circulation is not the same as a strike-through error. A genuine mint error should have characteristics that can logically be explained by the coin production process. The condition of the coin is another major factor. A 2014 $2 coin that has spent years circulating through thousands of transactions will naturally show scratches, contact marks, and surface wear. By contrast, a coin that was carefully stored shortly after minting may retain much sharper details and better surfaces. High-grade coins can attract premiums, especially when they have excellent eye appeal. However, condition alone does not usually turn a common coin into a $1,000 coin. A common coin in perfect condition may still be common. Rarity, demand, and condition work together to determine a coin's true collector value. If you believe you have discovered a valuable example, one of the first things you should do is carefully examine the coin under good lighting. Look closely at both sides, the edge, the lettering, and the transition between the inner center and outer ring. Compare the coin with a standard 2014 Australian $2 coin. Check the weight using an accurate digital scale and compare the measurements with known specifications. Take clear photographs, but avoid cleaning the coin. Cleaning is one of the worst things a collector can do to a potentially valuable coin because polishing or chemical treatment can permanently damage the original surfaces. Preservation is especially important if you believe your coin could be rare. Handle it by the edges rather than touching the main surfaces unnecessarily. Store it in a suitable coin holder made from materials designed for long-term preservation. Avoid moisture, harsh chemicals, and extreme environmental conditions. If you discover an unusual feature, resist the temptation to polish it or improve its appearance. The original condition of the coin is part of its history, and collectors generally prefer original surfaces. Authentication becomes increasingly important as the potential value increases. If you think your 2014 Australian $2 coin has a major error and could be worth hundreds or even around $1,000, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer, experienced numismatist, or professional grading service. A specialist can help determine whether the feature is a genuine mint error, post-mint damage, or simply a normal characteristic of the coin. Professional authentication can also provide greater confidence when selling an expensive collectible. There is another important area that collectors should investigate: the possibility of commemorative versions and special releases. Australia has produced numerous $2 commemorative coins, some featuring special designs and, in certain cases, colored elements. Collectors should therefore identify exactly which 2014 $2 coin they have before estimating its value. The standard circulating design is different from special commemorative issues, and collector demand can vary significantly depending on the design, mintage, condition, and availability. The 2014 date also places this coin in an interesting period of Australian coin collecting. Modern circulating coins have become increasingly popular among collectors because they are accessible to almost everyone. You do not necessarily need to purchase an ancient gold coin or an expensive historical rarity to begin collecting. Sometimes the best place to start is by searching your own change. The possibility of finding a rare error in an ordinary coin makes the hobby exciting and accessible. But what about investment potential? Should you buy every 2014 Australian $2 coin you can find because someone claims it may become valuable? The answer is no. Coin collecting should begin with research rather than hype. Most ordinary examples of common circulating coins will not suddenly become extremely valuable. The strongest opportunities usually involve genuine rarity, recognized errors, excellent condition, historical significance, or strong collector demand. Even then, no collectible is guaranteed to increase in value. Markets change, collector preferences change, and prices can rise or fall. This is why experienced collectors focus on evidence. If someone claims that a 2014 Australian $2 coin is worth $1,000, ask why. Is there a confirmed error? Is the coin professionally authenticated? Is the same type of coin selling at reputable auctions for similar prices? Is the coin in exceptional condition? Without evidence, a high price claim should be treated with caution. Remember that asking prices are not the same as completed sales. A seller can list a common coin for $1,000, but that does not mean a collector will actually pay $1,000 for it. For anyone searching through Australian $2 coins, the best approach is patience. Look carefully, compare examples, and learn the terminology used by collectors. Understand the difference between a genuine error and post-mint damage. Learn how grading works. Study the designs and specifications. The more knowledge you gain, the easier it becomes to recognize something unusual. And perhaps the most fascinating thing about the 2014 Australian $2 coin is that its story goes beyond its potential price. Even a normal example is a small piece of Australia's modern history. It represents the country's currency system, its indigenous cultural heritage, its connection to the monarchy, and the remarkable technology used to manufacture modern money. Every coin has a journey. Some travel only a few kilometers, while others may move across an entire country. By the time a coin reaches a collector, it may have passed through countless hands and witnessed thousands of ordinary transactions. The possibility of discovering a rare example is what keeps collectors searching. Maybe one coin has a dramatic strike error. Maybe another has an unusual die characteristic. Maybe a third has been preserved in nearly perfect condition since the day it was minted. Most discoveries will not make anyone rich, but the excitement of finding something unusual is part of what makes numismatics so rewarding. So if you have a 2014 Australian $2 coin, don't immediately assume that it is worth $1,000, and don't immediately assume that it is worthless either. Take a closer look. Examine the date, design, edge, weight, condition, and surfaces. Search for genuine abnormalities and compare your findings with trusted references. If you discover something that appears significant, seek professional advice before selling it. The truth is that the ordinary 2014 Australian $2 coin is generally a modern circulating coin, and most examples will not command an extraordinary price. But exceptional coins are a different story. A genuine major mint error, an extremely unusual variety, or an exceptionally preserved example can attract serious collector interest. That is why the most important question is not simply whether you have a 2014 Australian $2 coin. The real question is whether your specific coin has something that makes it different from the millions of others, and that is exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. The next time someone hands you change, you might see nothing more than a few dollars, but a collector sees possibilities. A tiny date might lead to a fascinating story. A strange mark might lead to an investigation. An unusual strike might reveal a rare minting mistake. And sometimes, after careful research and authentication, an ordinary-looking coin can become a truly special discovery. The 2014 Australian $2 coin may have a face value of just $2 Australian, but its history, design, manufacturing process, and potential varieties make it an interesting subject for collectors around the world. Whether you are a beginner searching through your spare change or an experienced numismatist studying modern Australian errors, this coin reminds us of one simple truth. You should never judge a coin only by its appearance. So now it is your turn. Do you have a 2014 Australian $2 coin in your collection? Have you ever discovered a strange-looking Australian coin and wondered if it was a genuine mint error? Take a close look at your coins and let us know what you find in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to like the video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe to Coin Collection 1 for more fascinating stories about rare coins, valuable coins, historic currency, and incredible mint errors from around the world. Keep searching, keep learning, and always look twice at your change, because sometimes the smallest coin can hide the biggest story. This is Coin Collection 1, where every coin has a story, and every discovery begins with taking a closer look.